On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. You're at the place where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never done. Today, we're talking to Georgianne McConnell. We're going to talk about one of the things that people have confused: money. Yes, the power, the influence, the striving, the longing, the pain, the anguish, but also the prosperity and the joy and the abundance that it can create if you have the right mindset, if you know how to let money work for you and you not work for money. Mm-hmm. Me and Georgianne are going to talk about that and a whole lot more. Let's welcome her to the show. How are you, ma'am?
Oh my gosh, so happy to be here, April. And I am so excited to talk about money with you and your brains.
Well, I'm excited to talk about it too, because as we talked about in the green room, people have got it twisted. Mm-hmm. They are so fixated on this thing called the dollar bill. And they fail to realize here in the United States that it is, it's an illusion almost. They print it every single day. Mm-hmm. The debt is trillions and trillions and trillions. And now cash is almost extinct. Right. Now, where are you located again? What state are you in?
I'm in northern Arizona.
Okay, so you're in Arizona, and I'm coming there in a few weeks. But is it a cashless society there? I mean, you go everywhere, and they're pretty much saying we don't do cash. We only do cards.
Yeah, no, not in the places that I go to, right? Just the grocery stores, Home Depot, that kind of stuff. I do know that right when COVID first started, right, there were quite a few, I'm going to say fast food places more than anything, that had the sign that said, no, we have no change, no coins, right? Oh. Which that there was a shortage. That's what I was thinking of. There was a shortage on coins, which for me, being in the banking world my entire life, it's like, really? Is it a shortage? But I think it was more what you were saying. It was more that they were leaning towards a cashless society. I don't think we're going to get there. Not in my lifetime.
I don't know. I don't know. Because, honey, let me tell you, we go to restaurants here in San Diego, and even the IKEA, shout out to IKEA, has that they do not take cash.
Wow.
They want a card. You can go into a dining establishment, not even a fast food. And I thought too that it was maybe they didn't want to transmit and the dirtiness of money, because money is
right.
That during COVID. But no, I personally think, and I want you to banter back and forth with me, is that the government, a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, me, that I really think that they want to change the way that we transact money and monitor the money. And only because of, look at Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin came on with a raid. The government couldn't track it.
Right.
It was peer to peer. There was no third party. You didn't have to have an intercession of a bank or a deposit,
right,
or a mortgage company. You
right,
were able to go directly to the people, and the value that they put on this. And again, we have to understand the perceived value of money.
That's right. Right. Because you're absolutely right. Kind of a lot of that's going on in my brain, right? So where I am, I don't see any evidence yet that the stores that I frequent won't accept cash. However, I'm with you on it is very possible that that is where we are heading, and whether it's the government or whatever. I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist.
My goodness, it's so fun. You're missing out. It just takes your brain to a whole different place.
It does. But I know that, I mean, I do have a small investment in Bitcoin. I wish I had been at the very beginning, right? Because I would have rode that wave up and cashed out, right? And because I do think that you're absolutely right, that we as a society are looking for ways to get out from under the government's review, right? And their big brother looking at what we're doing. So you might be absolutely right that places are trying to get out of the cash because there's no, the government can't track that.
It's more than that. People cannot count, Georgianne.
Oh, well, that is so
Cannot
true.
count. Okay, you give somebody $20.02, and they are like, oh my
Ah,
God, right, right. They don't know how
yeah,
to count back change. That was the first thing I
that's
taught
right.
my daughter. You're gonna work in retail. I'm gonna teach you how to count back money.
Yep, yep,
Their
yep,
tills are off. They're worried about being robbed.
yep, yep,
They're worried about all the banking. At the
yeah,
end of the night, you just press a button and it's done for you. So
yeah,
there's a lot of reasons why I see that they're going cashless.
yeah.
But again, it's the monitoring of every transaction that you make.
Mhm.
It be it the burger place, be it your mortgage, be it your car note, car insurance, the government or entities are tracking everything
Right,
you do.
right.
And you remember back in the day, because me and you are both women of particular age, where mama and grandmama used to hide, my mother used to
Mhm.
hide her money in the hem of the curtains.
I love
There,
that.
yeah, and she had some in a tin can that she
Yep,
had buried in the
yep,
backyard. You know,
yep,
they trusted that because my mother was from 1929, the Great Depression.
yeah.
So where do you, I don't know, do you see people having a fear of money? What is your understanding of where people are with money right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know, um, that fear is the right word, but it's and maybe it is, but it's they don't necessarily understand it. So you're absolutely right. Maybe it is that they're afraid of it. So, and I'm kind of going back to my financial advising days, that the women that I used to help, right? They were 90% professional women, right? So they were real estate or they had their own business or whatever. So they understood money to a certain extent, but it wasn't that like you and me, right?
Right.
I have no fear of money. Money is just an energy, is what we were talking about. Um, so thinking about it a little differently, I think you're absolutely right, April, that the it's kind of an underlying fear
It's a
of
fear,
money, not knowing how it works, not knowing, what the value is, as you had said a few minutes ago. And
but it's also an ignorance. And
absolutely.
I say that because number one, world currency. I love to travel. It's a challenge, but figuring out, I just came from Thailand, figuring out baht
Yeah.
versus the dollar or
Oh,
yen or the euro, and really seeing what our dollar purchases. I mean, I was in Europe
mhm.
and you could still get something for €1, $1. I was like,
Yeah.
you can still
Wow.
get something for that? Not here, not a potato
Not
chip,
here.
not a soda, anything. Okay. But also, it is an ignorance of where are the
Mhm.
bodies buried when it comes to your money. There's so many women that are so heavily reliant on their spouse or don't
Right.
understand the mechanics of money. And
Mhm.
then when they're hit with a divorce or an illness or disability, they're like dumbfounded. I had
Right.
one woman, I worked at the utility company. She had never written a check.
My mom's neighbor, 85, 86, has never written a check in her life because her husband took care of it until he passed away.
Well, and I'll tell you something funny. Mr. Magnificent, my husband, a few weeks ago was the first time he ever got a debit card.
Oh
He's
my gosh.
he's a cash carrier, he
Yeah. Yeah.
he pays all his bills on time and all that. But to actually have a debit
Yeah.
card that you had to go, I walked him through the ATM machine. It was so funny. And
Yeah.
he's 65 years old.
Yeah.
So a
Yeah.
lot of people don't understand
Mhm.
how that works.
Right.
And they do their children a disservice by trying to shield them
Mhm. Mhm.
from financial responsibilities and make
I
them
I
pay.
I agree, absolutely. And like you had said, and now that's going to come back to me because I want to really respond to it. Um, but as you had said with the women, right, and just relying on men, their spouse, their father, right, their CPA, whatever it is, and that's one of the That's actually one of the reasons why I became a financial advisor, is because I've been around money my whole life, right? My parents bought a grocery store when I was 14. So I learned about money and I learned about business, and it's second nature to me. I mean, it's just who I am. So for me to be able to help women, even if their husband still takes care of it, I'm all on board with that. But understand what it is, right? Be okay with opening the bank statement or looking online, because very few of us get statements in the mail anymore. But look online and understand what's coming in, what's going out, because at some point, women typically live longer than men. So at some point, it is very possible that they're on their own.
They're on their own. And, I'm very fortunate. And I'll speak for my community, African American community, not all, but they don't teach, or a lot of communities anymore, teach their children financial literacy. My father was on it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. I knew, but he was so tight, he could go in his pocket and feel whose face was on the bill. Okay. My mother, the total polar opposite. She
Wow.
made me feel like money grew on trees.
Yep.
So I was convoluted. And I had
Mhm.
gotten myself in some financial trouble
Mhm.
because, again, I just thought that it was,
Me too.
it was
Yeah.
just going to show up.
Yeah.
And then when you get these letters in the mail, the done notices, and you're overdrawn or this, and you realize how much money you're paying for the cost of doing business.
That's right.
They
That's
don't
right.
realize that.
Right. Especially like in today's world where the credit card, because I'm like you, right? For me, I grew up, money does grow on trees. So that was
Mhm.
exactly why I got into trouble, like you had talked about. But with the credit card interest rates now, 28, 29%, oh my gosh, we are spending
They don't understand.
thousands for nothing.
They don't understand that. And
They don't
I came
understand.
up out of the ground on my daughter a few weeks ago. She was overdrawn for a cup of coffee
Oh.
at Starbucks. Shout out to Starbucks. She was overdrawn. They charged her $35 for a $5 cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And I told her that was good for her. I hope she
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Because now you will learn. I can't believe it. And I'm going to go to the bank. And they didn't waive the charge.
No, no, nor should they, right?
No,
And hopefully she'll never have that happen to her again, you
this is
know?
this is my thing. You should always have some cash. In the event of an emergency, if there
Yep,
is a disaster, the ATM is not going to work, honey.
that's
You're
right.
not going to be able to get gas. You're not going to be able to get water. You may not be able to get a hotel.
That's
These
right.
things, you need to always have some cash.
Preaching
On
to
hand.
the choir, girlfriend. And that is what I say. I always have cash in my wallet. Now, I did not, when I first started in banking, when I was 18, 19, I just lived by my credit card, my debit card, right? But I've grown and I've learned exactly for that reason. We lived in Northern California with the wildfires and stuff,
Mhm.
that man, we always have a few $1,000s cash because you
Absolutely.
never know.
You never know. And then you remember the day of the check register
Oh, yes.
where you had to actually tick off the box
Yep,
and actually add and subtract, use your brain or calculator to see
yep,
what was in your account,
yep,
know if you were close to that pain point.
right.
They don't do it anymore. They
They don't
figure
do it
that if they
anymore.
have a check, a lot of people aren't using checks anymore. But if
Right,
you got a debit card, the only time you don't know you have money is when you're embarrassed and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, your card was declined."
right, right. Yep,
They don't keep a record of what's going on. All
yep.
right. So now we've gotten into you guys' case about how you're spending your money. Let's talk on the other side of the spectrum, looking at it and how to make money work for you. What are some of the suggestions and advice that you give to individuals just starting out?
Yeah, it's just starting out. Great, great question. I love, I mean, we're so connected, April, that
I'm
I'm sure
telling you,
your brains are loving this conversation. If they're like us at all, we're like, yes, exactly.
exactly.
So and what I love talking about money, right? And so as I had said, I was in banking and an investment advisor and a business owner and all that fun stuff. So when people are first starting out, whatever age they are, if they're ready to say, I'm going to take care of my own money, right? I'm with you. Checking account, savings account, right? If you and cash. Well, we already talked about that. I always have cash, and my sons do too. I taught them well. Um, but have cash, even if it's $10 or $50, right? It doesn't have to be a huge dollar amount, but really get in the habit every pay period or whatever, get in the habit of having extra money in your wallet. Um, if we're talking about investments, now I was an investment advisor. I'm no longer licensed, so I'll make that disclosure right away. I am not advising or
Oh,
encouraging anybody to do any type of investments. I do encourage you to talk to a financial advisor who can help you, because there's so many investment options out there. There's, the mutual funds, the ETFs, the life insurance, the annuities, stock market, all that fun stuff. If you're not ready to get into the investment world as far as in stock market or any of that stuff, just put money in a savings, right? You're only getting 0.1% or whatever it is,
mhm.
but it's
Oh,
the habit. I know it breaks my heart, but
mm,
it's the habit of I do a lot of everything that I have is automatic. So from my checking account automatically every month to my savings, right? 200, 500, whatever it is. Just get in that habit of not spending every penny that you have, and put it aside. And then at some point you'll be ready to talk to somebody, and you'll already have the habit of putting money aside. You can already live without all of that money, right? So put it aside and start doing it that way.
and educate yourself.
Absolutely.
When I was growing up, I had a reading challenge. I was dyslexic.
Mm.
And one of the things that got me out of it and really started reading was Newsweek
Oh,
and the money market. I understood that more than anything. I love it to this day.
love
And I
that.
tell people, okay, let the money work for you in some kind of way.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're sitting it in a savings account, which is absolutely nothing now, and the bank is using your money to do
That's right.
loans and all that kind of stuff. You're paying on your credit card. So for every dollar, so every $100, brains, you're paying the bank. What is it? 29%?
Yeah. Yeah. Just say 30%, right? It makes
You're
it easy
paying
for math. But
30% to the
yep.
bank
Yeah.
to borrow their money for some shoes
Which is your money that they're using.
that you're not getting any interest on.
Exactly.
Understand that. Put that
Yeah.
in perspective.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I'm not telling anybody how to do anything with their
Nope.
taxes. I'm not a tax advisor or anything like that. But me, I try to work on the side of breaking even.
Hmm.
Why give and look forward to a big refund? You've used my money and I
That's
haven't
right.
gotten anything for it.
That's right.
When you are with a company, and this is becoming an anomaly too, is that
Mm.
pensions,
Oh, yeah.
401ks,
Hmm.
they're not what they used to be.
No, they are
It
not.
used to it used to be you'd get, matched dollar for dollar. If you have the opportunity to work for a company that matches anything, that's free money.
Absolutely.
Okay? And you put that money in there, you let that money work, you're putting in the money tax free, and then you don't pay any taxes up front, but on the back end, that money will grow. It will grow. I'm telling you, I used to not think it until I worked for the utility company.
Mm.
And I was hearing these people call on the phone. They said, "Oh, we want to go to the stock option. Can you transfer me over to this and over to that?" Well, one day I called over there.
Good for you.
I said, "What are they doing?" They had this thing called a drip fund. You just
Yep.
put in $25. Let me tell you, brains, I'm getting dividends off that today. I was like, $25? I spend that on lunch.
Hmm.
Learning the mechanics of how this machine works
Right.
and the emotional attachment. Let's talk about people's emotional attachment. Would
Oh
you
my
would you
gosh.
would you break that down for us, please?
Absolutely. I would love to. So, as we were talking about in the green room, right, that money is just a tool. It's just energy. It's just I compare it to electricity, right? You flip the switch, you know electricity, the lights are going to come on. Money's the same thing. It's just a tool that is designed as this paper bill, right? It's just, it's really not anything. But the,
Really, I did my research on it, and the dollar bill was invented by the Chinese,
mm,
and they invented that as a form of a receipt.
oh,
So they were not able to necessarily bring over the ox or bring over the furs or bring over the sugarcane or whatever it was. So they would give you this paper receipt
this,
in exchange for those goods and services.
I
That's
know.
where the dollar bill originally came from.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah. So go ahead and finish telling us how emotional we get about this thing.
Yes, yes. So emotionally, right? And I wanted to bring it up, right, that money is just a tool because we don't have emotions about the electricity. We don't, we're not afraid of, if the electricity is going to come on or not. But people do have this emotional attachment um, to either their worth, depending on how much money they have, or they're afraid of losing it, running out of it, right? Becoming the bag lady when they're going to retire, which I heard that a lot when I was a financial advisor. But the mindset about money is, if we look at it that it is just a tool and you're able to shift that perception in your brains, then you can release the emotional aspect of it. Then you're able to look at it logically. All the money coming in, all the money going out, just like what you're saying is the credit card, um, the interest, that we're earning, the savings account, the drip system, right? Or the drip program, all of that, you're able to look at it more realistically with no emotions, and then you make better decisions. And as you said, you increase your education about it, and
Absolutely.
there isn't that anchor, tied around your neck that, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's money.
And the
It's
easiest way to educate yourself is just to listen to the radio. I listen to
mhm,
the CNN
mhm,
Money Watch or CBNBC or whatever. I
right,
listen and understand the financial terms. It's a language, brain,
right, right.
just like mathematics. Once you understand, I'm not telling you to invest this, that, and the other, but once you understand the mechanics of
Mhm.
how it works, then it doesn't become so intimidating.
Right,
Um,
right.
the power and the influence of money is devilish. It's devilish. You look at all of these people in power. I'm not gonna call no names. You can pick any one of them. But then you look at the underlying, the underbelly of it. They're miserable.
Mhm.
They're going to jail. They don't have family, their
Right,
health,
right.
all of these things. They got money and they can write a check. I have some friends that've got, yachts and all that. And they're on the yacht by themselves.
Mhm.
They don't want to, they're mean
Mm,
because they're a control freak.
right.
Everything has to be done by where I would rather be, just average. I don't need a yacht. I can go
Yeah.
get on yours.
Yeah.
I don't need to have, my mother used to say, oh, you get those designer purses. They're $5,000 to $6,000. I bet the girl doesn't even have 50 in it.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
because it's just the image. Yeah.
it's the image, it's the illusion. So we have
Right.
to go deeper and look at your self worth.
Mhm.
What do you really value?
Right. Right.
Why are you always chasing the next shiny object?
Mhm.
Is that really going to make you happy? A lot of girls are taught, oh, honey, I want you to marry up,
Oh,
marry a nice guy. Yeah, but then he's drinking, cheating on you, or hitting on you. And then when it comes to the divorce, you've never even seen a bank statement. You don't even know how
that's
much you
right.
got.
That's right. And then you're intimidated and you're scared. And so you just do what you've always done, back down and go, okay, whatever, whatever you want.
Oh, I
Right.
had a good one. I had one of my guests on the show, Brains, and let me tell you about this story here. Bless her heart. She was married to a man that was very controlling. He left her a boatload of money. And so when he passed away, she said, I am not going to be controlled by a man again. Went on that online dating, got milked, for $300,000
Oh my gosh.
because she wanted that control. She wanted that freedom.
Right.
But she was ignorant to, and ignorant
That's
just
right.
means not knowing, to how to utilize that money to leverage it. She
Right.
could have been traveling around the world and have 4 or 5 suitors,
Mm-hmm.
but she was confused. So
Okay.
don't be confused about it. Get an education, work with someone great like Georgianne that is going to hold your hand,
Right. Right.
that is not going to judge you.
Exactly. Zero judgment from me at all. Because I've been there, right? Married, divorced, in debt, no debt, lots of money. And we keep going back to, I'm sorry, I'm getting really excited. We keep going back to the education,
Right.
right? And that it's simple. What I say is if you learned how to ride a bike or drive a car or speak a language, you can learn how to understand money.
Mhm.
Whether you're a business owner or not, it doesn't matter. It's still, there's money coming into the household, money going out of the household. And it is really, I am so right there with you, April, on
And another
education.
thing, my grandmother always taught me, honey, a lady need to have her own.
Yep.
I'm not knocking it. I've been married 40 years to Mr. Magnificent. Okay? Really. But he knows I got my own.
Yeah.
Folks change their mind,
Hmm.
brains, they fall out of love, they get sick. And also, you want to be in a partnership.
Right.
You want to be where, in the event that something happens to the other person, you can pick up the slack for a minute.
Hmm.
That you can be sure that the kids eat, that you can pay the electric bill, that you can pay the car insurance. You may not have all the fine luxuries, but you can
Right.
take care of the basic necessities. Am I
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And also then everything that's going on in the partnership or in the family,
That's right.
right? Is um there's I can't remember her name at the moment, but I know of one lady who, when her husband passed away, she didn't know that he had life insurance, right? She didn't know all of those parts of the financial life. She fortunately, found out about the life insurance because that helped her since he had passed. But it's just about knowing everything that's going on.
It is. And not being afraid, not being
Hmm.
afraid to ask. If
Right.
you're with someone and you're afraid to ask them,
That's a
I don't
sign.
know. Yeah, yeah, I don't know.
But it's not against them, it's about you, right?
Absolutely.
That
I've got some friends and some family members. They feel very bougie because they're kept.
ah,
Well, are you kept as the house pet? You know, are you able to, go out without being on a leash?
wow, yeah.
What? And I'm just saying,
Yeah, and zero judgment, right? Some people are happy to be that, and that's great.
yeah,
And it still means, right, it's important for them to still understand,
right.
um, in my opinion,
In my
anyway.
in my opinion too. Now, however you run your household,
Yeah,
I'm not knocking that. But things are changing.
things are
There
changing.
are a lot of women
Hmm.
that are in power and an influence and making a whole lot of money.
That's right.
You got the house husband,
Mhm. Yep,
okay?
which is
And
great.
but with that too, he needs to know what's going on.
Hmm.
Don't emasculate him
Right,
because he's, taking the kids to the soccer, or he's cooking dinner, or he's cleaning the house.
right.
There is value in all of that. Just because you're there in the, pencil skirt and the red bottom shoes, that does not mean that the person in the household is any less valuable or what they bring to the table. Right,
That,
Georgianne?
that's right. It's exactly what you said a few minutes ago. It's the partnership.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who, man, women, women, it doesn't matter who the breadwinner is. Both parties need to understand what's coming in, what's going out, and how do we work together to, travel. Like you're a big traveler, I am too. But how do we work together for our goals? Do we want to pay down debt? Do we want to travel? Do we want to, get investments? Whatever the pieces are, if we don't work together, then you're going one way and I'm going another, and that causes strife and
Exactly.
discord.
Exactly. So let's ask you some fun questions because now
Okay.
we've been all in the money mindset.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So now, if there was any other profession
Oh,
that you could do outside of finance, money, what would you do? Where would you be?
oh my gosh, that is a great question. And I have been in money for so long. Oh, I know. Okay. So years and years ago, I wanted to become a Kundalini yoga teacher.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that fabulous? And my vision, gosh, now it's kind of coming back for me. My vision was to be able to travel to different places and, kind of set up shop and teach some yoga classes and explore the society and the culture of where I was. And then a few months later, shut it down and move on to a different place. Oh my gosh, I
Well,
haven't
you
thought
should
about
see.
that
You
in
should see. I got
years.
goose pimples because I just got a download, and I get downloads. You are in the perfect place, right there, Sedona,
Yeah,
Arizona.
absolutely. Yep.
Arizona. I'm coming to visit you, and we will go there and do some yoga on those red rocks, and
Oh,
that would be fun.
yes.
That would be so fun.
Yes.
You were an appliance in the kitchen. What appliance would you be?
Oh my gosh. An appliance in the kitchen. Well, refrigerator is what came to mind because I'm holding um, all the nutritious food for my family.
Well,
Refrigerator.
you seem like you're pretty cool, like you could just
I
chill.
am.
I want to be the air fryer.
Oh,
Yeah, because
I
it's crispy and it's fresh and it's new and it's innovative. It's easy to clean.
okay. I'm loving that. So I bought an air fryer just a couple of months ago and have yet to use it. Even last night, I was thinking, why don't I use that?
Well,
Just got to do
again,
it.
I'm gonna slap your hands.
Okay.
That's a first world problem, rich lady. If you were a flower in the garden, Georgianne, what
Oh,
flower would you be?
sunflower,
Oh,
tall, big,
mhm.
bright, and follows the sun. Heliotrope, however, whatever that word is, follow the sun. Yep.
Wow.
What about you?
I would probably be a tulip.
I love that.
There's so many colors and they
Mm,
bloom and they open, but once they open, they're just wild. They just go
wow.
wherever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just go all kinds of ways. I
Oh my
love
gosh.
that. If you could time travel,
Mm.
go back to the past, stay here in the present, project to the future, where would you land?
I right now, ooh, I would go back to ancient Egypt. I went
Would
to
you?
Egypt a couple of years ago
Oh
and
boy.
just felt such a connection
Mhm.
with certain parts of it. And we did a boat cruise on the Nile, and that was like my heaven. I just hung out by myself up on the top of the boat and just, yep. So I would go back to ancient Egypt. I mean, ancient, and
Wow.
just be there in that world.
Mm. And have Turkish baths and just
Hmm.
lay there and just be adorned with jewels and everything. I could see you doing that. Me, I'm going straight to the future. I want to go to 3000. I want to see what is going on, how people have evolved, how they've changed, what they've learned, what they look like. Are they still wearing braids? I want to know. I want to do all of that and then some. Well,
Love
you
that.
have been a wealth of knowledge, information, and inspiration. And I thank you. And I say this, man, woman, or child. Parents, teach your children financial literacy. We are in a critical time in our life. Trillions and trillions and trillions of debt. I can't even imagine where we're going and where that's coming from. The US dollar is not backed by gold or silver anymore.
Right.
It's just by our word. And as you can tell, people speak with a forked tongue. Wives, husbands, know where the bodies are buried. Ask your partner, hey, have we did our living will and trust? Do you
Hmm.
have insurance? Do we have investments? Are we broke? Am I overspending?
Right.
Now look at the cost of doing business. Look at how much it's costing you for that pair of shoes that you're putting on your credit card or that cup of coffee that cost you $40.
Daughter.
Daughter, absolutely. Look at that. Teach our kids because
Yeah,
it's very important. We want to teach them to be independent contributors to society. It's not a burden.
that's right.
And then
Right.
people are living longer. We're living to 100, easily now. The cost of healthcare, the cost of medication. And now that I am a senior citizen, proudly, uh, I find that it is very expensive. There's a lot more taxation now than it was when I was working. So
Yeah.
work with a great person like Georgianne to get it in alignment, to get some understanding. If she's not in the financial planning anymore, she can direct you to people that can facilitate that. But the basic understanding, conversation, and education about money, that's your woman right there.
I
Please tell
love
my brains
that.
how to get in contact with you, how they can work with you, and what's coming up.
I love that. Thank you so much, April. Oh my gosh, I've had so much fun. We could obviously talk for days
We are going to
about,
get together. I'm telling you,
oh,
you're going to come to San
girl.
Diego, and I'm coming to Arizona.
Yep, yep, absolutely. So I'm happy to talk to your brains and everybody if they have a question. So I have my website, which is georgiannemcconnell.com. I am also on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, all my full name. I have a unique name, so I am the only Georgianne McConnell. If you Google it, it's just me. So I love that. Spelled appropriately. Um, I don't have any events right now coming up. I do have one-on-one program that I've opened up a few slots because like you and I talking right now, this is what I love. I love being able to say, okay, you talk, I talk, let's help, right? And so I love doing my one-on-one coaching. So that's the program that I have going on right now. And yeah, I'm happy to answer questions. You guys want to
Good.
shoot me an email or Facebook message or whatever, happy to help.
Well, good, because I'm going to talk to you about some stuff on offline on the green room, and hopefully you'll be able to come back and visit me again, and we will be able to talk about other money matters because things, like I said, they're ever evolving. And you could be like me, a little conspiracy theorist, or very conservative, or very whimsical. But at least have a position, stick to it, and know what you're doing. Thank you
Right.
so much for being here on the Edge Brains. Get your money right. Even if it's change, you'd be surprised at how much you can save by just saving your change. Go
Right.
in, like, love, share, and subscribe. Like, love, share, and subscribe. If this is not for you, share it with somebody because everybody is touched by money matters. Thank
Mm.
you so much, Georgianne. You're the best. Bye, brains.